Hey everybody! Today I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Christine Darden, who is one of the first female engineers at NASA and the first black female administrator at NASA. So while you're watching this video about her, please keep in mind 3 questions. Number 1, what were computers in the 1960s? Number 2, why did Dr. Darden want to become an engineer? And number 3, what was the hardest part for Dr. Darden about getting her PhD, and how did she overcome that? Keep those in mind, and we'll discuss those at the back end of the video. All right, here we go.
My name is Christine Darden, and I worked at NASA Langley Research Center for nearly 40 years. My job is cooler than science fiction.
Getting humans into space took many years and a lot of work. But this achievement wouldn't have been possible without the help of computers. But back then, computers weren't the machines we know today. They were human.
And when I say computer in my discussions, I'm talking about the human computers. Machine computers, IBMs, and things like that were just beginning to work their way into the workplace at that time. Computer was really mostly females, mostly ladies who did the computing for the engineers. And it was at that time generally using a mechanical calculator and a big spreadsheet that they filled out.
At science labs across the country, female human computers did math, lots of it. They analyzed data, solved equations, and created graphs of detailed flight paths called trajectories.
I came to NASA in June of 1967. I was 25 years old, and I was hired into a job as a data analyst, but I actually worked in what they call the computer office. By the time I came in 67, the office was integrated. There were blacks and whites in the office that I went into. I had a white-head computer, and I actually got into the programming pretty soon after I got here, so I mostly wrote programs, computer programs for the engineers that came into the office.
Christine loved her work, but she was eager to do more. She didn't just want to process flight data for other engineers. She wanted to create it herself.
You know, it's got physics in it, it's got the math in it. I could do that.
So she decided to become an engineer with the highest degree you could earn, a PhD.
The hardest part of it was that I knew that my class was going to be all white males and me, and that's exactly what it was. The first class I walked in was maybe 7 or 8 guys and me, and I had been told how smart white guys were. And here I am going into a class with all white guys. What does that really mean? And so that was a tough decision to make, but once I made it, then my focus was on doing the work. I don't think any of them said anything to me at first. I did fine, you know, in the first test. And then 1 or 2 of the guys came over and said, "Hey, do you want to join our study group?" I said, "Yeah, that would be great." I entered the PhD program in about 1973, and I did not graduate until 83.
After nearly 40 years, Christine retired from NASA in 2007. She was the first black female at NASA Langley to be promoted to a senior leadership role. And it all began with a curiosity that was sparked during her career as a human computer. Like so many other women in this role, their work was crucial in the advancement of NASA's space program and the future of modern aviation.
Folks say you ought to have a passion about what you do, because if you have that passion, you never work a day in your life, because you're always it's what you are. And it's something that you enjoy doing and you love getting out of the bed every morning to go and do.
All right, now it's your turn. In your classes right now, please discuss the following questions. Number 1, what were computers in the 1960s? Number 2, why did Dr. Darden want to become an engineer? And number 3, what was the hardest part for Dr. Darden about getting her PhD, and how did she overcome that? As we benefit from learning more about these giants in the industry, we can become more like them ourselves. All right, take care.